What's up, guys? We're going to talk about a learning electricity circuit that we did actually for the whole quarter with a group of fourth graders at Lost Creek. For this, we really wanted to break it down from the most fundamental level that we could and then build it up to eventually working hands-on with circuits. We started so fundamentally because we wanted to understand why things work so that it made more sense in their head. So first thing we started with is just drawing a picture of the atom and asking them, do you know what an atom is? Most of them don't, so you kind of explain that. It's kind of a mind-blowing day. Talk about protons and electrons and how they repel each other. And then what you can do is move to the example of a battery. And so asking, like, how does a battery work? And they all have wrong answers. And then you basically say, explain that there's a lot of negative charges built up on one end, and they're always trying to basically balance each other out. And so what you end up doing is talking about the fact that electrons are actually moving through the wire to get to the other end of the battery. And for several days after this first day, we kind of had a refresher for the first 5 minutes of class, so people kind of understood that.
Yeah, and then from there we broke down into doing simple series circuits with the battery. So we do an LED with a resistor and talk about how resistors worked. We put in like a 100K, 1K, 100 ohm down to, I think there was a 5.1 or 5.2 ohm, and really show them the concept of the path of least resistance through this and how voltage is reduced across resistors.
Yeah, and what was really, really useful for these were snap circuits. So if you're at Lost Creek, the fourth grade classrooms, I think definitely have snap circuits. I'm sure Terratown might have them too. If you can get your hands on a snap circuit kit, or Dr. Fisher also has provided some like hands-on learning kits for that, but those are really useful for that.
Yeah, like Gabe was saying, the snap circuit kit was awesome because then next we moved into teaching them about parallel circuits. And one of the key components that really blew their minds was using their finger and tracing where the current and the power was going within the circuit to show them like the node voltage concept and to reiterate the path of least resistance to show them, you know, this is why this motor isn't getting powered when there's an LED hooked up to it in parallel with resistors and things like that. And
the final activity that we did this for like 2 or 3 days that we went there, and it was super enriching every time, is ideally for these also, you want to have like 4 to 5 people to a classroom. We had 5, so it was really nice. We split up into 4 groups in the classroom, and I would go to the front of the classroom and write out like requirements for a circuit. So I might write, it needs to have a light bulb and a motor, and the light bulb needs to be controlled by a switch and the motor needs to be controlled by a button, let's say. And they need to be asked, then they have to first, before they even start the circuit, answer a couple questions. Is this a series circuit or is it a parallel circuit? Are they gonna have multiple loops? And then are the button and the switch gonna affect how much of the circuit and what parts of the circuit? And once they wrote those down, then they could start the circuit, and getting them to think through how those things work. The end of it, last 5 to 6 weeks of the quarter was all hands-on, really fun. So
they really enjoyed it. So
cool.